how to increase your protein for women in midlife. I'm going to share with you today a lot of different tips of ways to get some protein into your diet, increasing that. And first, let's talk about why you want to add protein. So, protein is going to help with things like hunger control, it supports your muscles, it helps balance your energy, it supports your metabolism, and protein is a building block of collagen, so that's going to help out things like your hair and nails. And as far as how much protein you want, one example I read is, for example, if you weigh like 150 pounds, you'd want 90 to 100 grams of protein per day. I know that what my doctor told me, an easy way is just take 1 gram per 1 pound of what you weigh and then times that. And that could give you a great number of amounts of protein to have in a day. The other thing that my doctor shared with me is that when you increase your protein, you're not going to be as hungry for all those carbohydrates. So that's going to help you balance that combination out as well. So we know now why increasing our protein, but let's talk about the how. So you want to first start your day off with a good amount of protein. She even shared with me having like 3 eggs for breakfast in the morning is a great way to start your day with a good amount of protein. Now I'm going to say when I tried that, 3 eggs was kind of a lot for me to eat right off the bat in the morning. And two was a little bit more doable for me. And then I got a little bit burnt out on eggs, but there's lots of different ways to have eggs to get that variety. So you can do a scrambled egg, you can do a fried egg, you can do a poached egg, you can do a hard-boiled egg. I will pop in a video of the little hard-boiled egg machine that I use and makes that easier to make those hard-boiled eggs. Another way to hard-boiled eggs is just put those eggs in cold water, raise that up to a boil, and then once it's boiling, then you take it off the heat and you let it set for 10 minutes. But I just like the egg machine because I just can put that in there, put the water, and pop each little egg a little hole and stick it in there, and then boom, it dings, and I don't have to watch anything. And then I just let it cool down and then keep them in the fridge and use them throughout the week. Hard-boiled eggs can be used for so many things. Like I said, you could just eat it plain right then with a little bit of salt. You can add that to things like a salad. Also add it to um, an egg salad sandwich. I love that for lunchtime, an egg salad sandwich with like the mayo, and I like the golden spicy mustard personally. But what are some other ideas for getting your day started with some protein? So having a protein shake is a great way. I'm going to pop in a video of my favorite protein shake. I'm going to make one of my favorite smoothies for you. This is my protein chocolate cherry smoothie. So tasty. So the main ingredients are some frozen cherries. I like to use oat milk. You could use the milk of your choice. I use this Premier Protein. I like the chocolate flavor. One thing to get extra chocolate, I add the cacao powder. It makes it extra chocolatey and boosts the nutrition there. And this is something I drink every day, so I sometimes add this to a smoothie, or I just add it separately in water, but it's an optional thing for you to just add directly to your smoothie. My Sparkle Collagen, which I've been using for over a year now, super great. And recently added creatine to the mix and add a scoop of that. Okay, let's blend this and show you what it looks like. Now I use a bigger blender if I'm making more than one serving, but if I'm just doing a quick serving for myself, then I just use my little Cuisinart. I always blend the fruits separate first and then add the other ingredients. Okay, the fruit's ready and going to add the other ingredients. For the protein powder, I used 2 scoops of that, and I used about a tablespoon of the cacao powder. Here you go. Here's my cherry chocolate smoothie. So yummy. Recommend it. That was my chocolate cherry shake. So tasty. And the protein powder that I love to use is this Premier Protein. I like the chocolate flavor. It comes in other flavors as well. I've tried so many different protein powders. I've done the pea protein. This one in particular is a whey protein. So there's different kinds of protein powder, and you can get ones that are unflavored if you prefer that. They have vanilla, they have strawberry, but this one, I like this brand. And some other ideas for protein shakes, because that's a way to also get some hydration in there with your protein, and that is my blueberry yogurt one. So I will use frozen blueberries. Now, if you can find wild blueberries, that's even better. Those even a little bit better nutritionally than regular frozen blueberries, I heard. But I will put that with the Greek yogurt. So I use that as my protein source. And then I will add in like the milk. And you can add other things also to your shake to up that protein, like chia seeds and ground flax seeds. I find mine at Trader Joe's and I just keep them in the fridge so that they last longer. Some other ideas for a shake, you can make like a banana chocolate shake. So putting a frozen banana in there, frozen strawberries in there. And the other thing is, like, you know how you buy a lot of fruit, or at least I do at the summertime, because there's so many great fruit options. If you're finding you're not eating it as quickly and it might be going bad, I just take that, wash that, and then put that in the freezer for me to use for a smoothie. My daughter used to make a joke because I would have different ones in there. She's like, Mom, are you using up all these quickly? You're taking up the freezer. But now they have those one little cups where you can put it in. I think that's called the super, and it's a little frozen container to kind of organize the things, and that puts it more like a little block thing for you to save some frozen fruit. But having a smoothie again is great. On those mornings where I'm on the go and I don't even have a chance to make my smoothie, I also just have these pre-done smoothies. They sell these at places like Costco. This again is Premier Protein, and this one I like the caramel flavor the best. This gives you 30 grams of protein right there. So a huge fan of protein bars. So I kind of get on a kick of like a certain protein bar that I have that one for like the next 6 months, and then I try a different protein bar. But my current favorites that I'm really into right now are the Aloha brand. This is the raspberry white chocolate. So the limited edition flavors like this, and then the chocolate peppermint hot chocolate. Peppermint white chocolate one is so great. I also like this one. It's the banana chocolate chip. I like also the mint chocolate one. I don't have any ones of those to show you right now. The Aloha brand, I found you can get those at places like Whole Foods. Also, you can go online on their website and they have different promo codes for you to check them out. This one is the Go Macro Bar. So this particular flavor is the coconut almond butter chocolate chip. Comes in lots of varieties. They sell this at my local grocery store, the Wegmans. They also have it at things like Trader Joe's as well, and so many different flavors. And I say these ones are tasty. You can make protein balls. So I'm going to pop in a video of protein balls. Those make a great snack, and you could even have that for a quick breakfast time, and that's going to increase your protein. Protein energy bites. These make a great protein snack. So you're going to use a half a cup of the flaxseed, 1 cup of rolled oats, 2/3 cup of peanut butter, 2 tablespoons of honey, and then whatever mix-in do you want. I'm going to use the half a cup of chocolate chips, and that is a great idea if you want a little sweet there. To that, you can also add things like dried cranberries, shredded coconut. You could add some cocoa powder to make it more of a chocolate flavor. And I've done a lot of different variations of this and added different fill-ins, and it gives you a variety there. One tip when you are doing the honey is to put a little cooking spray in there, and it makes that come out easier of the measuring spoon. I use local honey, which actually they say is good for allergies as well. So I'm going to add all those ingredients and give that a stir together. And there you go, it's all stirred up. So you want to refrigerate that for about 15 to 20 minutes to let it set better, and then you're going to roll it into balls. Make sure if you're using the flaxseed that you refrigerate that after opening. A little tip there, it says on there, but sometimes people forget that. And also, I think I decided I'm going to put in about half of this, some shredded coconut. You can add some almonds to make it more like that almond joy flavor. But I decided I have some shredded coconut, so I'm going to add that to half of it and let that sit, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's all done. I used a scoop to make it easier to make the little protein energy balls. There you go, they're all done. So you can either store these in a baggie or like a Tupperware kind of container, and you want to store those in the fridge. Enjoy. You can make a little quick pancake, almost like a keto kind of pancake, where you take a banana, mash a banana and egg, and mix that together and cook that in the pan with a little bit of butter. I also have a recipe for another one that has cottage cheese, and I'll show my video of that. Serving of 1 keto pancake. So this is going to be high in protein. So I'm going to be using cottage cheese, almond flour, baking powder, and egg, and I have some butter melting in the pan. So I will add 1 tablespoon of almond flour, adding 2 tablespoons of cottage cheese, 1/4 teaspoon baking powder, and a pinch of salt. And I'll add that egg, and then I'm going to stir it and put it in the pan. Okay, my pan nice and hot. I'm going to add the batter in. Cook it 2 to 3 minutes, and then flip it and then cook it another 1 to 2 minutes. This is a great way to start your morning. It's going to give you about 12 to 14 grams of protein, so you can make more than one if you like as well. Here's the pancake all done. You could top with things like maybe some butter or cinnamon, or maybe like a little applesauce might be a fun idea, a little jelly or jam, or even syrup. So I'm going to top mine today with some butter and cinnamon. But just increasing that protein right off the bat to start your day is a great way to give you that energy you need for the day and know you're on the right path to getting some good protein for the day. But let's talk about some other meals like lunch and dinner and snacks. And so for lunch, I will have things like taking that canned chicken, and I like to make a chicken salad sandwich. So with that, I will put things like grapes, celery, and that celery seeds add so much flavor into that chicken salad. I will just have that plain, or you could have it like with crackers as well. I like Triscuits. And then you have so many different other kinds of different like lunch meat that you could make. I will have leftovers from the night before and add whatever kind of meat if I had leftover and add that into a dish, making it into a sandwich or adding it into a salad. Like I said, the egg salad, making an egg salad sandwich or add eggs to a salad. Another thing are lentils. You could cook lentils. I like to make those. I add the chicken bouillon with the water to flavor it up some more. And I like to make a little dish that's like lentils, or you can use couscous too, is another idea. But let's say with the lentils, I do this kind of with either one of those. But then I will put those lentils, adding also cucumber, avocado if I have it, tomato, feta cheese, and I make like a lemon vinaigrette. And that is tasty. I like that for lunch and kind of feels like refreshing to me to eat that. And as far as dinner, I have so many different things I make for dinner with protein because we do eat meat. So I have chicken, ground beef, steak. I don't use as much probably that I probably should use it more as like ground turkey or ground chicken. If you have a great recipe, go ahead and pop that in the links below for me for I could try to use that more often. But I think the one thing is really looking at your snacks because there's so many snacks out there like chips and whatever. But if you can instead switch those out for more of a protein related snack, that is going to go a long way for getting your protein that you need for the day. So let's give lots of ideas there. So Greek yogurt, I mentioned that, adding that to a smoothie. Another way to have Greek yogurt, I like to have it just plain. There's so many flavored yogurts out there, but I found that a lot of them have so much added sugar. I like to control how much sugar I put with that. So I will flavor it myself. I can't eat it just a plain Greek yogurt, completely plain personally. So I will add either a little bit of jam, jelly, honey, or Nutella. So a little bit of that. I like a salty kind of sweet thing. So oftentimes I will also add some nuts like sunflower seeds or walnuts for that little bit of crunch and that little bit of extra protein in that yogurt. That's an idea. Cottage cheese, I mentioned that. I'm going to pop in a little video of a cottage cheese with the bell pepper. Another high protein option. It's a red bell pepper filled with cottage cheese and some everything but the bagel seasoning. Shout out to Jennifer Jenkins for this idea. I think in hers she added also perhaps some turkey meat in it or on the side. I forget, but I'm going to eat this for my lunch today. So cottage cheese, my mom used to love cottage cheese with tomatoes. So every time if I had that, then it always makes me think of her, remember her eating that. I mentioned hard-boiled egg, tuna. So a can of tuna or the tuna pouch. My husband is a huge fan of tuna. He could have it like practically every day for lunch. I couldn't do that all the time because I need more variety, but he likes that. He also likes the salmon packets and he adds that often to like a salad and has something like that for lunch too. You also have different lunch meat to have out there. So many different kinds. Turkey, for example. tofu cubes is an idea. I'm not a huge tofu fan, but maybe you are. So that could be an idea to increase your protein. And also chia seeds. So I mentioned the chia seeds, adding that into the smoothie, but you can also add chia seeds other ways. I'll pop a little recipe I found for like a chia seed kind of flavored tea. They sell pre-done chia seed drinks, but those are kind of expensive and harder to find. But this one had where you hydrated the chia seeds and then you added that to flavored tea. And that was good. And so that way I like got increased my hydration, which I'm trying to do, and added some protein at the same time. There's tons of different recipes out there for chia seed pudding. So that's one way to get a treat with your protein. And you can make that with whatever milk you prefer. I'm currently really into oat milk right now. And then you can add different things to sweeten it up. You could put some cocoa powder, you could put some jelly, some different things to sweeten it up. Oh, if you made like some overnight oats where you soak the oats overnight in something, then you could add things to that, like add some chia seeds to that, add some nuts to that. I'm a huge fan of like a handful of nuts. I like a variety. So I like cashews, I like pistachios, I like different seeds like sunflower seeds, and I will make my own little trail mix where I put my own little variety of seeds and some goji berries. I do have a link for that, so I could put that below for you. And I make my own little trail mix. You could put some little chocolate chips too for a little bit sweetness, and make your own little packet of trail mix for yourself. You can make yourself a little egg McMuffin. So make yourself an egg, like a little poached egg, and then you can add the things like the Canadian bacon and cheese and put that on the English muffin. About other kinds of cheese. String cheese, that's another quick protein snack. I like to get the cheese that's more like the cheddar cheese that comes in squares. You find that in the grocery store by the blocks of cheese. And I love to eat that with some Triscuits is my preferred way. Now, I went years ago to an endocrinologist and he told me every time you have a carb, think about having a protein with it. And that is going to help for me with the blood sugar. So I always think about that. So I don't want to have just the Triscuit by itself. I want to add the protein to that. So that's why I put the cheddar cheese and have those together. I love that. And the other thing with the cheddar cheese, okay, with apple, I have the Betty Crocker cookbook that I love. And again, also reminds me of my mother making different things. But I found a recipe where it talked about apple pie and adding cheddar cheese to that. I haven't done that, but apparently that used to be a thing. So I thought, oh, okay, I'll just take that same concept and put a sliced apple with cheddar cheese, and it tastes really good. So I totally recommend that and give that a go. Let me know what you think. I also really like an apple with some peanut butter. Did I mention peanut butter? That's another great little thing. You could just have like a spoonful of peanut butter, stick peanut butter with an apple. Peanut butter with celery is another great. It gives me like that little crunch. I really personally like celery a lot. Some other ideas are roasted chickpeas. And you can make those yourself, or they have pre-done ones in little bags. Edamame, my husband likes that. He likes to buy the shelled one that's already shelled, and they have that at Trader Joe's. You can find that there for convenience. Jerky, like beef jerky, turkey jerky. You can increase things like if you're making, let's say, like pudding, and you can add some protein powder to that to make it more of like a protein pudding. And that's one way to do it. Here's some little great combinations. Like I mentioned, the apple peanut butter. What about hummus and carrot sticks? You could also do hummus with like celery would be a great thing. You can combo like almonds and string cheese. Tuna on the whole grain cracker. Here are some different little ideas of 3 things, like apple peanut butter with cinnamon, cottage cheese, cherry tomatoes, and black pepper, Greek yogurt, honey, and chia seeds, hummus, carrots, and everything in the bagel seasoning, crackers, tuna, and cheese, edamame, sea salt, and an olive oil drizzle. So I hope that gave you lots of different ways to add some protein into your day. A lot of these things you can buy at the grocery store, but some of these things like the protein powder, I could perhaps see if I can find a link for you on those. And if so, then I'll pop that below for you. Appreciate your time today. I'm wishing you a happy and healthy new year. This is Gloria. Please consider subscribing and pressing the like button for more great tips. And have a great day.